Are we live here? I don't even know.
We start 2000.
Are we? You know, it's like every time it's the first time. I swear to God. Skip the ad. Okay. We got sound, guys? Can somebody type something up if you got sound? Everything working? I see lights, but I see so many lights that I don't know which one's meaning. Okay, yeah. Good sound. Cyrus, Driston, Game Over, Sean Connolly. Everybody, greetings. Well, as long as sound is working and everything's working. Can I get a thumbs up? Yeah, good morning, Scott. Oh, Lord. Sound is up. Okay, thanks, Sean. Appreciate it. Then I am going to, you know, and you should be getting a far superior stream quality and picture. I gave money to people. All right. Hey, guys. It's old Hankerin here. And welcome back. What are we doing today? Okay, it's Saturday morning. I'm sitting around. My dog pushed open the garage door so it got extremely cold. So I had to spend the morning getting the warmth to return to this cave I live in. Yeah, hey everybody, Game Over. And Epotrausti Bjarnason. Ryan B's up in there, Caleb. Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back to Drunkards and Dragons. Greetings. This morning, a couple things are in store. Where is all my shit? What's going on? So, no tunes, because remember, I want you to listen to your own damn music. You know, go on Pandora and type in mariachi. You'll be good to go. Yeah, good. Thanks, Mitchell. Appreciate it. Ethan, hello. Megamoo, what's up? Saunders Studios, Max Featley. Good to have all you guys. So, this morning, as we always do on Saturday morning, I take a little time to quit being so damn professional and put a little sculpting time into my own home projects on the old Oculus Rift. So I'm going to bring you guys into my virtual realm. And I've actually got a pretty zany introduction to dungeon design in VR this morning that's a little weird. We'll get to that as soon as I can get my act together. And then I thought maybe, I don't know if this camera is going to move or anything. Maybe I'll just put right here would be cool. But basically thinking about answering the bazillion questions that I've been getting about index card RPG. So the questions have been ranging from, you know, like why and how, all the way down to, well, I don't know, you know, I like my D&D just fine, so I don't want to, you know, wreck it with a bunch of crazy. Man, I need to shave. Look at this. I look like a stowaway on a Viking longboat who wishes he was a Viking, but is actually just a lumpy-headed strange person. Hey everybody, if I don't notice you on the chat stream, sorry about that, but oh yeah, hey, what's up, Ryan? Yeah, virtual on, you know it. Anyways, let's get right into it. So I wanted to show you guys a project that I've been working on and put a couple of sessions into, and then I wanted to walk you through it. And the reason that I wanted to is not so much just like behold the wonder of VR, because honestly, VR, it's just another awesome screen. It's just very immersive. But when you really boil it down, it's just another digital tool. And in the long term, it really does pale compared to the actual table. Just nothing beats the table. It's called reality, and reality is always cooler than things on screens. But what it does let me do is show you guys imagination process. And you know my whole angle is the hardest part of being a dungeon master is the imagination process. Honestly, the players have it a little easier because they get to draft off the dungeon master. But really, if you guys are dungeon mastering, you know the pain I speak of, which is that you need to lead the way with dreaming big and thinking about parts and pieces and progression and sequences and how they're going to be dramatic and how they're going to be fun and wow. So it's both at the same time the thing we love doing the most, which is so addictive, but also the hardest part. So I'm always thinking about tools to help people visualize the visualizing process. Okay, so now I'm going to click things, and hopefully I won't ruin anything. So I'm going to get this chat room out of the way. There we go. And now, if I'm intelligent, which is a big if, you should see like me, like sliding out. Whoa! Oh wait, I'm gonna shrink first. Ah! Help! I'm going in the corner, so you can look at me with my headset on for no damn reason. Okay, okay, there. See that white box? That's my medium box. So that's what we want. Why don't you get in front? Can I put that in front? There you go. There we are. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of my OBS window, and we are going to enter the Rift. And we're going to talk about designing the Temple of Fog. Okay, so I hope everything continues to work, because at this point I'm completely going on faith. All right. All right, welcome back to the Rift. We missed you while you were gone. Not really. Okay, boom. So we're right in here. Checking. Okay, so you guys should be seeing this in all its glory. Unfortunately, you have to put up with that big in Medium logo, but hey, you know, that just reminds you how cool Medium is. So we're here, and what the hell am I looking at, Hankerin, for now? Well, what I've been doing is using Medium to design dungeon spaces, as well as to create maps. So this is a series of encounters in a dungeon that I've built, and you can also see it this way, which you can see it more in a sort of familiar map type of view, right? But the joy of VR is that scale is highly adaptive, and so I can look at it as a map. I can screen grab or render this for use to create maps, and I'm working with Absolute Tabletop right now, actually, to do content for you guys that is built in VR. But you can also vastly change scale like this and put yourself into the encounter, and that's kind of what I wanted to discuss with you guys today. So working our way through the Temple of Fog, what I wanted to do was show you the series of encounters that constructs this dungeon. And why would I want to do that, you ask? Well, because this is how you're going to visualize a good night of gameplay. So let me get where I want to be here. Okay, that's where I want to be. So let's get green for the first part, okay? So for the first part, this is, whoa. Can I get a witness? Stairs. Okay, so this is your first sort of section, and this is how your players are going to imagine. And this is entering from some cavern in the wilderness, right? And they find this huge set of broken stairs leading up to some kind of strange vista underground. This is going to be the beginning of your encounter. I'm going to imagine we're something like level 4, and I'm going to throw down the ye old DC 13. DC 13 seems to be the favorite DC of WotC right now. So if you've been reading through Volos, man, do they love those DC 13 saving throws on their monster designs, right? So your players come in right here, and they're going to be confronted with this sort of gigantic staircase. So you can imagine a person is about yay big. So, whoa, this is kind of crazy. So every once in a while there's a lopsided stair. So I wouldn't do any enemies right away, okay? So now we're going to work our way up. We're going up the stairs, and I wouldn't even be doing dex checks, but I would be doing, you know, perception checks down onto the spikes, perception checks down here, and it's like, wow, this cave is really big. And then you come up, and it looks like some kind of terrible event has broken this staircase. So as a dungeon master, you're probably seeing it in this type of view, right? Here's your player path. And they've got this gap, which is not surmountable by normal means. So it's something like a full move of a gap, right? And they need to find a way across. So they can use ropes, they could use a plank they found, they could use a flying spell, they can use something, all kinds of interesting manner of solutions to a simple gap puzzle, right? This is a classic element in all of fantasy, is the gap in the stairs, right back to Tolkien. So great, that's pretty exciting. And remember, we're still at DC 13 because we haven't really done anything yet. So this is our first real DC 13 area. Now to make it interesting, you guys know how I am. I always want to push the encounter. So what I would like to do is push them into the dungeon. I don't want to stop them like, hey, don't come in here, which is a very common mistake in dungeon design, is like you start entering and the bad guys come running out and go, get out of here. And you're kind of like, yeah, actually, why don't we just leave and like go get an army? So what I want to do is now bring some enemies that maybe followed them in from the forest, And this is where the enemies are going to appear. Skull means enemy, right? So the enemies are going to come running up the stairs and engage the fighters while whatever the movement solution is. And here's where your good old D4 timer comes into play. Is when are these guys going to arrive? Can the players completely solve this crossing puzzle in 1 to 4 turns? Now, if they're ferrying, like one guy gets to go at a time, and then you roll like a 2 on your enemy timer, oh, you're going to get a great situation where you have, 3 of your 4 players are here, and 1 player is here, and then 5 skeletons show up. And now they've got to ferry this guy. He's alone. They can't really help him except with ranged attacks, and you've got a great encounter, and here's your opening encounter. Okay, so you solve that encounter, and let's move on up the stairs. So now we come up these stairs here, and we come to the Pillars of Salt, or just the Pillars, I suppose would be a good name. So from the DM's point of view, whoop, whoop, there you go. So this is a lateral area before you think about moving on ahead. And then you have this over here. So let's get a different color. So you have this cave entrance here, and let's say that this whole zone is now we're going to click it up 1 notch. Oops. C. That's the weirdest looking C ever. So this is a DC 14 for the pillars. They come up, and right about here, there's like a gravelly ground or an unstable stone ground, and when they walk across without a lot of care and attention, they're going to make a little bit of a clicking noise, a little bit of a Hobbit in the Underdark noise, and they're going to get the attention of whatever lives in this cave, and once again, you want to roll your D4. As they are coming out, these pillars, which I've just represented as blocks here, these are all, the big ones are stone pillars, and all these little ones here, these are all people. These are petrified people. Now, this should give your players an instant cue that you've got a petrification monster on your hands, and oh my god, Clash of the Titans, and the pillars can do line of sight. And then right when they're figuring that out, out she comes. Here you got your Medusa, or Gorgon as it's known. Wait, no, the Gorgon is that metal bull thing. Anyways, here's Medusa. She's got her bow. She comes out and she's pissed. She's the guardian of this place, right? And this whole battle is going to take place. Now you've got 2 interesting options for your players. 1, flee back to the broken stairs where potentially the bad guys are still coming in. Or 2, flee forward into the next encounter, which is always a bad move. Anybody who's played basically any game knows that when you flee forward, you make things hard on yourself. So you've got some fun mechanics here. You've got like line of sight, right? So if she's here right now, I'm kind of safe in this space, and so on and so forth, so you can use the pillars. Then you've got like sort of this area, which I would make like unstable rocks on a perception check. You can shoot arrows or go hit it with a hammer or whatever going up here to collapse this cave so she has no place to escape. Or go in here, maybe she's got some treasure in there that you could plunder while the rest of the party kites are out here. Just kill this creature, and you're done with the DC 14 encounter. Okay, so there's the Pillars of Salt, or the Pillars. The Pillars of Salt gets awfully biblical. That's okay, so then we're going to move forward to the lake. Okay, so you have this cool green underground lake, right? And once again, you're just going to step up a click. So we're going to go to DC 15. Now that is not easy. Now it's getting a little hairy. And we probably won't go beyond DC 15 for this level of group. So here you have a big lake. Again, you have a crossing puzzle, and I think I must have gotten a text. And then to make your crossing puzzle exciting, let's just go with good old-fashioned tentacles, right? So they start coming up like so, and I wouldn't even do time on these guys. I would do how many. So you do probably your D6 on how many. And begin to bring up your tentacles. There's some islands here that can be used in case they fall in. If they do fall in, they'll be pulled under. Can we go under? Help, I'm drowning. It's crazy under there. Okay, so there's your lake. And this is going to be a little bit of a break as far as pursuit and as far as mobile enemies. But you're going to have these tentacles to deal with. You guys are awesome dungeon masters. You can think of a million ways to use tentacles. These walls are very hard to scale. But you do have this walking area here. Again, very hard to scale, so it kind of forces the issue. And there you go. There's the lake. Really simple encounter. Really fun. You're going to be wearing them down at this point. They need to just get across here. Once they see this next section, and they have this wall. This is a great area for someone to do some history or some arcane or some lore. and these markings talk about the sort of the place in the earth where rocks fly or something to that effect. And this is going to be a sort of a little bit of a hint about the final room. But generally you just want to say, you know, like, whoa, ancient carvings that predate mankind. They speak of a place where rocks can fly. Now, I haven't put the door in because I don't know why, because I'm a lazy bum. But I had imagined a big sliding door here. And in order to get this door open, they need to somewhat understand the carvings. And then there's sort of like, you know, 3 buttons and a switch. And they need to you know, something real quick just to make them feel cool. Don't make it like a puzzle and make it a big pain in the ass. But just so that they feel like, oh, we're going deeper into the sanctum. Okay? So, there you go. So now let's... you gotta be kidding. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. And we're going to keep it at DC 15 because DC 15 is hard enough. Okay. So here we have a classic Indiana Jones dart puzzle. There's a lever at the far end of the room. The walls are filled with holes, which obviously are where spears and darts come flying out. And the path is spattered in blood. Okay, well, we can definitely figure something out here. And then looking to the left, either Medusa, who you left alive, which I can see way over there, or another tentacle comes crashing in like that, or both, or the hobgoblins from the forest who chased you finally got across the stairs and ran up here, and they appear. What color were they? Red? I don't know. Right, so there's 1d6 of them. And again, your players are going to see what you're doing as a DM. You're pushing them through, but it doesn't matter because they don't want to die. So they're like, glowing neon things. We got to go through here. Somebody has to make the run through here. It's a DC 15, either to disable the trap, to realize that like this part of the floor depresses and releases the spears. Once the spears fire, though, make a twist on this trap. Don't just throw them at the guy who's stepped here. Throw them everywhere. And continually throw them. They just start flying and flying and flying. This thing is just nuts until someone can reach this switch at the far end of the room, and then pulling the switch, the thing is corroded in place. And it's going to take strength checks, probably more than one. Bring the pain right here. Wear them down and push the kind of the imminence and the pain. So this is your 4th encounter of the night. This would be a big night if you could make it this far in one night. You'd be really moving fast. Again, we have these sort of 3 buttons and a lever with a big stone door that slides in this groove, goes up, and woo, I can't believe we're still alive. And then you get to come into the final space here. Whoa, what's going on in here? It looks like someone has been here recently. Oh, God. And rocks, they're flying. There's floating rocks. So sure enough, you have these floating rocks around here, and you're like, well, what does that mean? Then you're going to hit again, let's go green again. You're going to stay at 15 because it's hard enough. Okay? And perception checks on 15, and oh, the carvings, this is the origin of the carvings, and actually they allude to the coming of the great beast and how the closer he comes to entering our world, the more the rocks will begin to rise. And as you are deciphering this, of course, you've got a timer going, right? It's got 3 on it. People are investigating. They're thinking maybe we should go up in there, like we're here for treasure, right? Or we're here to free the princess, whatever. And when your timer runs out, sure enough, the king of all tentacles come out. And it's kind of attached to a sort of a type thing. This is just classic, like, you know, boring Cthulhu mythos kind of super battle here. And he's grabbing onto stuff. I don't know why he's in neon, but it helps you see. And then as he exits, these rocks begin to energize more and float, and you're kind of like, well, okay, who cares? The battle gets underway. When your AI chart goes, or when a roll determines, or when you determine as the DM, however you run your monsters, he puts a tentacle down here on the ground with a strange intent and sort of electrifies this entire floor. Die, I will devour your soul. And actually, anyone who comes in contact with this electrification is going to get constitution drain, and he's going to gain the constitution drain and regenerate. The only way to avoid this problem is to get off the damn floor. So that's either to get on the stairs here or to get on the floating stones. And there's a limited number of spaces, And it's pretty far apart. Remember, 30 feet is like here. Getting a lot of glowing shit. This is like Vegas in here, but... And there's your battle. And then you want to work through the hit points on this guy. Maybe they can draw him out so he's more like here. They can get behind him. Maybe these torches could be used. Maybe, well, I don't know, maybe you can telekinesis these rocks or get somebody up here and they could jump down with the flying death attack. Summon something. I'm sure you can think up all kinds of timers and treats to make it work. That's not necessarily what I wanted to show you guys here. What I wanted to show you guys is the idea process of creating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 encounters that form this space. Now, what's the usefulness of VR for this, just besides looking neat? It is having this picture in your head. If you play Theater of the Mind, you still need to have this in your mind as the Dungeon Master. And when you're playing Theater of the Mind, you need to have this in your mind as the Dungeon Master. You need to know this stuff. Even if you have no visual reference in your tabletop at all, it's up to you to be able to see all this in your head so that you can describe it. And that's the challenge, as you all know all too well, of dungeon mastering. So that's what I like about VR, is to be able to get in here and, in a way, just kind of stare at this and think through it. You know, like, what's going on exactly with the carvings? That's kind of an interesting question. Is there a way to make this a little more interesting? And I'm going to want to make notes, right? So then eventually as well, and you guys will see this, I'm going to start using this tool to create maps because, well, I don't want to give too much away, but using these kinds of views to create maps is proving to be absolutely incredible. It's such a great tool because you get so much depth of detail, but you can also just keep it very simple. Another method that I've been using, and that I can just show you real quick, is building a complete space, right? So a complete space has a ceiling and walls and all that stuff, right? So it would be like, let's just take the pillars, for example. The pillars would have, right? Like they would actually be in a completed space like this, right? And here's a little door to the lake. Right? Whatever. I'm just kind of being a slob right now. So what it gives me is, on the one hand, I get a view of what it's like inside here. Okay, and then I can use this to create, you know, artwork for you guys, for a module or for whatever. But then when you go to map making mode, all you do is you pull off this ceiling, which the easy way to do it would be to just get rid of this, yeah. And then here's my render or my grab for creating the map. So just so powerful as an architect, which you guys know how I feel about dungeon mastering. It really is an art of architecture. So as an architect, there is simply no better tool, because you can be both inside what you're creating and you can think of it as a map maker. And being able to do both of those things in the same piece of art and work this intuitively is really powerful. So if you guys get a chance to get your hands on some of this tech, very powerful tech for a dungeon master. And we're just now seeing the beginning of this era, so who knows what's going to happen. Yeah, so just for fun, I could just fire up one of my other little pieces. I've got, as you can see, a ton of pieces I've been doing for this project. I think the last one you guys saw was old Kjarn the Prisoner, which is right there. But I've done several new characters since then, and I don't want to reveal too much because there's a lot ahead. But this is all part of, you know, the Hankerin miniature series, which will be coming up maybe in a year or so. But we're going to print right out of medium, probably using the Stratasys 750 at Shapeways, and we're going to get all these minis built. So here is Hoot, one of the Meyer miners, who you'll be meeting pretty soon as you get into the module. Built him the same way that I built the guy that I streamed the other day. There he goes. Oh boy, look at Hoot. He's a rotating. So Hoot's a good old shirtless dwarf with a couple of mining picks, and hell yeah. Making these guys is just so much fun in here, and I think these are going to translate to some really cool miniatures. The first one we're going to see, I think, is going to be printed at a 6-inch size. Oculus printed it up on their awesome gel medium printer, so we'll get a look at that pretty soon. But anyway, it's pretty sweet, right? Yeah. So that's another item coming up. All right, let's get out of VR. I think we're VR'd out for the moment. Actually, I'm never VR'd out. I do it for hours and hours on end. All right, let's see if things actually are continuing to work. Am I still there? Hey, I'm still there. Okay, let's get that out of the way. There we go. Cool. So now I should be able to bring you guys back up and yeah, okay, cool. It seems like everybody's still there, so I think I did it successfully. Could you turn up your input sound a touch? My volume is maxed and you're still quiet. Audio input is turned up all the way. Sorry, you're on your own. It's probably the setting on my mic is more for tight rooms, and I'm about 3 feet away from it. We got Lawsy Boy self-promoting over here. Does anyone know if Medium can run using Revive? I don't know what Revive is. Medium runs on Oculus Rift. 96 you guys. Hey, great show up for Saturday morning. Okay, after all that talking, I need a sip. I need to wet my whistle. Hang on a second. All right. So I hope you guys are feeling like I am. That is a great tool for visualizing and for dungeon mastering. That was, dare I say, Hoot. Yes, that was Hoot. You know, we do seem to get a few more trolls on Saturday morning that we get on the the weeknight streams, don't we? It's kind of surprising, isn't it? You'd think trolls would sleep in. You think everybody would sleep in. Okay, yes, Ethan Brown is correct. Next up, we need to be thinking about ICRPG. Gotta get icy. There is going to be an ICRPG t-shirt coming out pretty soon, so if you're a fan of that. Hank, how much is the VR setup? Well, I shot the moon. I got the brand new Alienware and everything, and I spent $2,000 on the whole deal. So, I mean, it is what I do for work as well, so I just had to go all in. The other thing that's going to be awesome, and I'll put an announcement up on the Facebook page, is on January 18th, I will be at Oculus headquarters sculpting live as their featured artist for January, so that's going to be super fun. The Oracle West, that set of rooms was created in about 30 minutes or so. Map 3D printed, now to get that. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool to make just like a little version of it and that would serve as your notes? That'd be crazy. I don't know how moderators work, but I would love to get rid of trolls. All right, so how can we, let's switch gears a little bit here from VR to ICRPG. It's Saturday morning. You know, we're just kicking it. Got a game today, but also it's freaking Seahawks playoffs, so we're going to play early D&D and get out of there by 5 and go watch football. But, yeah, I'm a player today, so I got no worries. Hank, how do you find a bunch of guys in college to play D&D? Oh, that's the easiest place to find players. We just posted up in the dorm. We posted up in the dorm, and like before we knew it, we had 2 groups going, and it was really easy to meet. And you know, people don't have anything to do but be awesome and have fun in college, so build it together. Hey Cyrus, what's up? I think the next installment of ICRPG there should be character portraits. Okay, Ethan, you want to get into it? Oh, hey Keith Johnson, what's up, dude? ICRPG character portraits. Okay, so there are numerous threads of reasoning going on with ICRPG. There's a lot because not the entire truth has been revealed. So, here, get my mic out here. The entire truth of ICRPG has not been revealed. So, on the one hand, it is a system agnostic art supplement, right? It's just art for your table. And that's fantastic. I think it's really fun. The whole new campaign that I'm designing is completely built around it. But right away, since everyone is so damn smart who hangs out on this channel, they're all picking me apart with critique, questions, curiosity, as well as doubt a little bit about if this method really does add up to a good tabletop method, you know, that can make your game as rich as D&D is, as tactically rich and as detailed. And this is the freaking rub of the whole project. So the first 2 volumes of Index Card RPG are just art. And I'm sorry, you will not be getting some of the things like heroes and character portraits and stuff because, and loot. You will also not get loot in volume 1 or 2. That is because volume 3 is what I'm calling sort of the core book of ICRPG, and that's what I'm working on right now. Volume 2 is all but done. Volume 3 is not only a bunch more cards for your tabletop, it is a full-on freaking game system. And the best one I've ever designed, I'm absolutely sure of it. It's fantastic, and that's where you're going to get heroes, you're going to get portraits, you're going to get tons of loot. The core book is 300 cards. And I know you guys are going to freaking love it. It's fantastic. So that's why you're not going to see every request you're making in volume 2. But believe me, all of it goes into the note pile, and all this great feedback I've been getting from everybody goes into the project. DC 13, I don't think it makes very good standard difficulty. I think 11 is a little better. 13 can be hard as a general rule, but all depends on your group. If your group is skilled in getting bonuses put together, then yeah, 13 is great. When we finished our campaign, we were only level 8 and 9, and we were at DC 20. So, you know, there it is. Yeah, Sean, sure. Terrain can be handy. I think when you're first getting into D&D, terrain can actually be very burdensome and can keep you from doing things. Because if you don't have terrain, you won't do it. And that can really slow things down, especially if you're doing finals and stuff. For us, the real key for playing college was doing sort of grid paper. We didn't even have dry erase back then. I mean, that was like 93. So we just did grid paper and didn't have minis either. We kind of just used like M&Ms or pennies or whatever. It was great. It was awesome. It was the good old days. Ground beef Groobs, are you still doing Mokhtar? I wouldn't say that we're not doing it, but it's not being worked on at the moment. Part of the problem with Mokhtar is that it confronts this sort of board game industry. You know, it's like a project that includes a book and some dice and some, you know, it's kind of, I just, being where I'm at now, I think it's just way too complicated. And also that space is so damn competitive with such high quality, I'm hesitant to mess with it. And I also just am not sure that it meaningfully contributes to the art form. I think it's kind of a little bit of a derivative of Mouse Guard, and in a cool way, but the world doesn't age that well. I find myself not that fascinated with the world. Whereas sort of, I know this sounds silly, but things like the Forgotten Realms, they age really, really well. It just, over time, you think of more and more ideas and depth inside that world that you want to see. And I think the more creative and the more odd a world is, the harder it is for it to age well, if that makes sense. So Mokhtar is a little bit in the freezer at the moment, but Cyrus is my creative partner on that project, and I'll wait for him to pick up the ball again and poke at that. And you know, nothing's ever over until we're dead, so it just isn't being aggressively worked on right now. I'm really aggressively working on ICRPG and the campaign and the stuff that comes with it. So hey, yeah, this is all really true, what you guys are talking about with first-time DMing and terrain and stuff. It really can be burdensome. I would really recommend focusing on the friendships first. It's people who are excited about D&D. That is the thing you want to find. Doing a campaign or an adventure, whatever the fuck. Maybe you don't even play. You just sit around and roll characters and kind of try to understand the books and stuff. That's more fun and interesting than trying to jump right in and, you know, getting overwhelmed or getting disappointed or whatever. Just everybody needs that awesome impression of it. And then when you're ready, like, get big with it. Okay, so let's talk about some mechanical junk. All right? I'm trying to figure out how I can like make a thing float right here. How can I make things float? I mean, I've got a lap. Hang on. Don't need all this stuff. Just need this stuff. Here's how we're going to do it. So you guys know, even with ICRPG as my go-to right now, I still use a big old awesome foam board because I just love having the sort of the feeling of stone being there. Is this working? What's happening right now? Hang on. I mean, I know you guys are like, wow, I'm sitting here on Saturday morning watching a guy move furniture. This is... You could be watching like a People Are Awesome compilation, but instead you're here. There we go. Yeah, nice pitch for your channel there, dude. Way to give everybody shit. That is pretty precarious. But hey, one more benefit of using index cards, right, is that they don't weigh anything. So you can be precarious with it. Hey, Hankerin, you sure are getting precarious over there. All right, so let me pull up another. There's just an infinite amount of furniture in here. I just finished filming my first video with the new iPhone, and dear Lord, that camera is amazing. I dare say it's a better camera than a Canon SLR. Okay. Hey, here we are. Sure, got it to float. Mission accomplished. I'm not sure what's going on in the chat room. I just ate dinner. Last of the tiles, I printed out the ICRPG. Oh yeah, man, 110 pound cardstock is a perfect choice. Totally awesome. Okay, so I've long wanted to design my own system. I'm almost there. Oh man, Jonathan, designing a system is the holy grail of being a dungeon master, and the hard part is making a meaningful contribution, not making a derivative system that is different for differentness' sake. Which is what I find about like roll under systems and stuff like that. They're just trying to be different for reasons I can't understand. So we got some glare going here. I don't want glare in my life. Glare's lame. Here we go. Okay. Nobody wants glare. There's glare in there. Okay, cool. You see how like wobbly that is. Okay, great. So here we are. I think actually instead of going high, I'm going to go low. You know, instead of going like that. There, fine. There we go. Now I'm stable. Okay. Here we go. So the question with ICRPG that I get the most is, oh God, leftover pizza. Hankerin, that's all fair and good and everything, but I really prefer D&D. Right? Well, that's a good point. Then you have to ask yourself why. Why do you prefer D&D besides its total awesomeness and the fact you've played for years? Most people's answer to that question is that it gives them tactical detail, right? They get this, how many squares away is X? How many squares away is Y? And then I will use the number of squares in deciding what to do. And this will also give me context for special abilities, because some special abilities will have longer ranges and some will have shorter. And you get all this detail, right, that comes out of spatial detail, that using the grid, you know, like this thing has a cone, this thing goes in a line, the range of this breath weapon is only X, and so I'm standing just outside that range of that breath weapon. So I got a great critique from one of my viewers who said, you know, like, players aren't going to be happy if you're in this spatially loose system and your Otyugh jumps out, and here's my Otyugh, jumps out and lashes with tentacles, and a player thought, well, I was out of range. Hang on. That is hilarious. I have a phone now, so I haven't had a phone for a while, and now I have one, and it has to do things. It has to be important. Okay, so you're not going to be happy if in a spatially loose gameplay frame, you have players thinking they're utilizing space, and then they're getting surprised or they're getting killed because, da 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 dee dee dee. Okay. How do you keep all that detail in your game but get the joy of ICRPG, which is like massive amounts of conceptual breadth, massive amounts of modularity, great improvisation, tremendous coverage in your world. Like, your world can really get big with ICRPG because it's not confined to a realistic grid. Well, I'm about to tell you how all of that detail and all of that awesome stays cool without getting into the ICRPG system design, because that's not ready to be revealed to the public yet. But hey, look at this. It's the Rangers of Numidia in 2D form. Okay, so we're going to start everybody over here. And this is a room design that I've got here built with cards. So the room is roughly interpretable as a shape like this. I'm not laying the cards in an arbitrary fashion. Pow! Right there off the bat, you get an implication of space. Now, okay, we're in a dungeon, right? Where the walls are is incidental. So, one of my first instincts was like, ooh, I'm going to go get some styrofoam walls and I'm actually going to wall this in so it feels all cool and stuff. And then I realized it doesn't freaking matter. It's kind of here somewhere. And I'll let my players imagine that with me. Okay? So the room design is not wall design. It's what this series of concepts is and how they make a fun room. And for this particular one, I like to call it the regenerator. Okay? So this weird looking thing right here, what the hell is this thing? I don't know. This little thing. This is the regenerator. So it's sitting over there with this little particle effect above it, right? Going woo, 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 woo. And here's this Odiug. They come in and they're like, oh, look, an Odiug. He's in the dungeon. I know what to do with him. Stab, stab, stab. So then they kill this guy. I put him back in my Dungeon Master's pile. And they're like, well, that wasn't too hard. Let me go up here. Hey, Stills, we got a trap, I think, ahead. And then, oh, disarming trap. And maybe he's hypni-shkopni across. And then when Stills is just starting to navigate that trap, one round later, there's a particle effect back here, and the Odiug regenerates and comes back into shape, like Samael from Hellboy. Reconstructs from a skeleton and some materializing sand that forms flesh on the bones, and then he attacks again. It's like, what the hell is that? And Stills is mid-trap disarming over here. Like, oh shit, well, oh man, well, Zymer's getting beat to hell, and Foxy's in pain, and maybe I should go back and help. I'm like, oh, okay, well, no, what's this thing over here? I don't know. I don't use magic things. I'm a rogue, so this is baffling to me. Navigate these spikes again and fight this thing. Okay, they kill it again. All right, it's dead. So, okay, it's probably got something to do with that magic thing. Zymer, we need to get you across here. Well, I don't do well going across traps. I'm old. So, same old thing we're always going to see in D&D. Get this guy across here. It doesn't matter if he can move 5 clicks, 10 clicks, whatever. You're getting across a concept. That means making a save against the trap, taking a little bit of damage, helping each other with ropes and sticks and planks and whatever. All the same things you're going to get in D&D. How far this is exactly is not salient to the task at hand, which is the conceptual overcoming. So as Zymer finally gets across, maybe with the help of Helm. He has to carry him across. So they're over here. Zymer starts investigating this object, and he's got 1d4 rounds to figure out the regenerator. Okay, we roll something like a 3. Within that time, the regenerator regenerates another Odiug. Now Foxy and Stills are stuck fighting the Odiug by themselves, and this is far more threatening now. And they're like, seriously, Zymer, dude, figure it out right frickin' now. Well, I'm trying here. If he fails, then we get another Odiug or another creature or a little pack of creatures. So like this time it regenerates a little pack of Odiug goblin mutants that join the fight. Oh, it's getting hairy over here. So they kill the Odiug. Then they're fighting the mutants. Stills is like, just go ahead. And so Foxy jumps across here. He manages to kill all these guys. But Zymer is coming in on the end of his investigation. This thing respawns. He finally figures it out, turns the little click, realigns the runes. And the last time that the Odiug is killed, it stays dead. Stills makes whatever rolls are involved in getting across the trap. And then they have this door up here. And they proceed. Okay, there you go. That was a room. Now, what in that room would be garbage without spatial detail? Well, the exact details of how the Odiug attacks. Can he reach across the trap? No. Because the amount of space that's salient is conceptual space. This is the Odiug space. This is the trap space. This is the regenerator space. So where a character is, it can be, you know, sort of like, well, I'm kind of over here, I'm kind of over here, but really you are conceptually in one of these spaces. Okay, so let's say the Odiug has a reach, right? Because that's what would happen in D&D, like a breath weapon. And so, well, I was out of range. Well, if you're conceptually in the Odiug space, you're fighting it. You're engaged and it can reach you. If you want to say, I need to escape the Odiug, I want to be out of its range, then you need to conceptually be out of its range, which means either out the exit that way or here or further. This is the limit of the Odiug's reach. And so let's say I had a dragon with a breath weapon and I didn't have the spike trap. Okay? Because I really want to focus on what were delivered as some of what I thought the cleverest critiques of this way of thinking. I'm looking for my dragon. I have some extra cards in here too, and I just have basically total chaos. You guys know how I live in chaos. There we go. Okay. Goodbye, Odiug. Dragon. So let's do the breath weapon problem. If you're here, basically anywhere near this dragon card, you are conceptually engaged with the dragon, and you're in the breath weapon range. Now, all I would ask of a player is to, like Zymer, is to say, well, I want to move to safe distance. Okay, how many things did I just move? I don't know. It doesn't matter. He's just conceptually at safe distance. And I would happily allow that because the fight's going to be complex enough as it is. And then I'm going to use dice to determine breath weapon direction, right? And they're like, well, dude, what's direction? Aha. Now things are getting interesting. Well, if there's direction but not distance, does that mean space is real? Well, maybe it is. Okay, well, I want to be kind of on this corner of him. And then I'll go over to this corner. And Stills will be at this corner. And Foxy will be at this one. That way, all of us won't get fried in one breath weapon. That's great. That's conceptually relevant. But this is not. Like exactly how far, so you can stand at the very edge of the breath weapon and be like, nanny, nanny, boo, boo. Basically, if you're out of breath weapon range, you're out of attack range. It's that simple. So anyways, that is a little bit of a help of how some of those more detailed mechanics can translate. The fact that you even still need miniatures keeps you in a somewhat spatial way of thinking. Okay, so let's move on and try one more. This one. This is where we're going to use sort of like a moving element. And my chasm. Here's my dwarven door. And then, whoa. We'll do mushrooms. Mushrooms and crystals. Why not? This is the beauty of ICRPG. It's like things just come out of the deck and you're like, ooh, that would be cool. Okay, so we're in a cave. Because we're always in a damn cave. All right, the rangers come on in. They have this chasm to navigate, and across the chasm there's a flame skull, right? I don't know if you can, if you're getting, there's a little bit of glare because it's cold outside. Somehow cold and light are interacted. Lousy boy, no one cares, move on. What if the Odiug dragon fart monster moves their conceptual space? Aha, that's what we're about to get into, life in a glass. Brilliant intuition about where we're headed next. Yes, I have heard of Cardmaster. Very interesting. And a lot to learn there, yes. Hey Nick, what's up? Okay, so now we've got a flame skull across this chasm. The players, as always, just need to reach a damn door. So there's this dwarven door, which is going to be a really tough door to get through. Very well built and high resistance, can't be lock-picked, can't be destroyed, has to be opened properly, which means a key, which maybe the player's got somewhere else or something. I don't know. Who cares? The relevant point here is our flame skull. He's going to be what's interesting. Okay, so we have Stills begin to climb across this thing, and he's like, I don't care about flame skulls. I'm going to go battle it. Yeah, the flame skull. And then on his turn, flame skull rolls a dice, and he conceptually moves between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 locations, something like that, whatever. For the sake of being awesome, he rolls the entrance, and he flies across to the entrance, and now he moves into the player's space. That's how you can still have movement in your game using the card. If I put a monster down, it's not like it's glued to the table now. He can cruise around. So it's like, okay, we get a little ways into the battle, right? Flame Skull's back here. Zymer is tangled up in the mushrooms, breathing spores and tripping out. Helm is trying to figure out how these crystals form the key to the dwarven door. And Foxy is biting at the mushrooms. And this thing comes over and fights Stills, and then blah, blah, blah. It, again, chooses with dice. If it goes here, only Helm is fighting it. Unless the other players abandon what they're doing and switch to here. That would be a move, what we can, generally consider a move action in D&D. So, holy shit, there you go. There's everything you have in D&D except going like this. 5, 6, safe. You're not going to do that. Now, I'm not preaching to everyone, this is like your replacement for D&D. Woo! It's just another game. It's just a project I'm working on. So some of the critiques that I've been, or questions that I've been receiving have been like, well, this doesn't have all the blah, blah, blah that D&D has, blah, blah, blah that D&D has. But I know it doesn't. It's meant to as a completely different thing. It's kind of like arguing over Dungeon World and D&D, which one is better. There's no argument there. That's arguing over, whether donuts or pastries are better. They're both fantastic. There's a place for both in this world because you don't want to eat one every damn day. Okay. So, anyways, there would be an example of how you would want to deal with the flame skull. Now, to make this interesting, you could have your flame skull be a pulsar, right? So a pulsing monster is one that's constantly putting out this death effect. The Bodak in Volo's Guide has this feature. It's the aura of annihilation, right? So anything really close to the Bodak is constantly being damaged. And why is that interesting? Well, in the index card method, anything that is in the conceptual space of the Bodak, remember we're thinking Bodak now, is being constantly injured. What does that do to the players? Well, it's a classic old game mechanic, which is it avoids clumping. Characters that are putting out a pulse of damage will very simply and quickly get the group to disperse. So, well, I'm going to get away from this thing. I'm going to go hide in the mushrooms. I'm going to go over here by the chasm where it's safe. Yeah, I'm going to go try to pick the dwarven door. Okay, now the pulse damage from the Bodak is only hitting Helm, who's our tank, so it's good to go. So you see, you just got all of the mechanic from the Bodak that's in Volo's Guide, but without having to go, okay, well now I'm out of the sphere of annihilation. Instead of doing that, you said, well, I'm going to go from fighting the Bodak over here. Now, it's going to change some things, which is that with the Bodak in D&D, you could get out of the sphere of annihilation range and be hitting with ranged, right? And I would still allow that. It's not like I'm just going to be mean about that. A player can say, I'm going to get out of range of the pulse, but I'm going to stay engaged. Interesting. Okay. Then this now is what I would consider a conceptual space. So if my flame skull or Bodak is going to choose randomly where he goes next, I would count this as one of my spaces. This is a non-card space. This is just where this player wants to be. So, whoa, right? I think the main thing that I want to convey with this is that the concept of zones, which is in Conan and in a little bit in Dungeon World and in Fate for sure, it is coming to the hobby. It is here. It's a very new and innovative idea. I think it's brilliant. I think it opens the game to more people, and it opens a lot more space to people. So let's get into how that can work too. What do you mean by it opens more space? What, you crazy? Because you were just talking about how space can get so detailed. Like that was good. It is good. But there are many, many good things in this universe. And we will love them all. Okay, so we're going to change how we're considering space. And we're going to change it big instead of small. If I can find what I'm looking for. Why are there 4 ropers? I don't know. I just like ropers. This sort of fits the bill. Here we go. This fits the bill. Hi, Bill. Okay, and then hey, here's an all-time classic, the Black Magic Cathedral. Pilly Pow! Pilly Pow is basically taken over in my mind as the supreme force of quality crafting on the internet. I'm just going to put that out there. The fool is ridiculous with his quality. It's absolutely amazing. All right, let's gather our wits. Okay, making space big. In a crafted world, it's very hard to craft vast space. It's almost impossible. You either need to tremendously reduce your scale so that you're looking almost at like a map of the world or a map of a state or something, which is really weird. Or you need to just write it off and use like a world map or theater of the mind, right? With the index card method, though, all of the exact same techniques apply even when vast distances are involved. So let's work on it a little bit. Let's say that the last place that the group adventured was here in the Black Magic Cathedral, right? And this is a classic thing that you want to happen in D&D, but is often prohibited because of sort of mapping techniques and stuff. But we have a character that wants to go to the garrison at Monkey River, and he wants to go there too, but actually Stills has a secret journey. He wants to go to the Tree of Death, and Foxy's going to go with him. We can use the same sense of time and conceptual salience to keep the whole game moving at the same pace, even at a vastly larger scale. So this can be 100 leagues between these destinations. A turn, instead of running across a room, becomes riding a horse from town to town. And you keep everything moving at the same pace, right? So this is what happened here on my turn. Well, we went to the Tree of Death and we investigated. We found the hanging corpse of Barno McGillicuddy, who actually, he's supposed to be alive. He used to be the mayor of the garrison. And like, oh no, Zymer and Helmer at the garrison. The mayor there must be an imposter because his body's right here. Okay, that's what you discover. On their first turn, they go and a combat breaks out here. So, whoa, the garrison is no longer occupied by people. Where's my rust monster? Well, even better, carrion crab. A carrion crab comes out. So, in their turn now, these guys need to catch up, and you can maybe roll a 1d4 for how long these guys need to battle the crab until these guys arrive. It's kind of like an afternoon. Whatever, doesn't matter. But they're battling. They go, oh, they show up. Hey, help, we found the thing over at the tree. Okay, well, we've got to get to the, Zymer finds out that there's a cavern that has, the solution to the puzzle in the garrison. Whatever, this is all up to you. You're the dungeon master. And, oh, okay, we defeated the crab. Thank you, get out of here. Let's all go there together. There you go. Another thing you're going to see coming in Volume 2 is a town system. So I've got cards somewhat similar to this. I've got sort of house, tavern, blacksmith, magic shop. And you can lay out a town just like this. Give all your players, 1d4 turns to be in town before they need to get out. And they can use the same type of conceptual movement and action on a turn to manage a town. So can you see how where it's going? The scale can change. You can build a town this way, a dungeon, or a room. You could have a table. You can go down to that level of detail. Like, here's a bottle, here's a book, here's a dagger. I don't know why that would be useful, but I think the magic of the index card method is not seeing what it can't do, but seeing what it can do that you could never do before. In D&D, there are some things that you can do really freaking well. I mean really well. And they are namely old school simulationist wargaming. Nothing does it better. It's that simple. It is the quintessential experience of using grids, movement measurement, and abilities and ability progression to resolve combat. It kills it. And on almost every other front, it is confusing and weird and slow. It leaves so many unanswered questions that I think this is why this damn channel exists, is because there are so many unanswered questions in a simulationist wargaming dungeon crawling system that you, as the dungeon master, wind up sitting there having to try to answer all these questions. Hey, there's me. Okay, so I can feel my voice just like dying. It's been about an hour. And you know, this isn't everything. This isn't the big answer to all the puzzles. I just wanted to show you guys how I start getting excited about how the concepts stitch together. Now, with absolutely no prep and no sense of what the hell I'm doing and what my story is, I don't know how all the cards stitch together. That is the very excitement of doing the prep, of drawing the cards and maybe chaining them together and saying, oh man, I never thought of putting, you know, 2 traps in a row with a switch in between them. You know, or I never thought of an unkillable monster until you know, turn off his unkillable switch. And so on and so forth. Now, as you're probably seeing, there's a bit of a spoiler here too. The core book for ICRPG is going to include a huge set of minis. So you're going to have all these really cool little minis that match the art style and brings it all together. And I just make them with a piece of popsicle stick and a Pathfinder base. And they're really easy to see. They have facing and they have a lot of neat detail to them, and they're really fun. So you're going to get characters, a pre-made campaign, a shit ton of cards, and the entire core system that's stored on index cards, and character sheets that are on cards, a ton of loot. The entire progression system is built through loot, and it's going to be cool. So I just need to get through all the damn work. It's a lot of work. And there you go. Excuses, excuses. And I got a couple videos coming up. We've got book review coming up. Going to finish editing that probably Monday. That's Simbaroom, Rapanathuk, Fate Core, A Walk Through the Woods, and Dragon Magazine anthologies. I'm reviewing all those. And then we also have a dice review. So I've got a massive review of like all these different brands and varieties of dice and their strengths and weaknesses. And like, we're all dice fanatics, let's face it. It's one of the funnest parts of the hobby is hoarding dice for no damn reason. So I'm going to go into a whole thing about how to get your money's worth on the dice and so on and so forth. And then I got a huge video, which is just taking forever, making this damn beholder. So I'm making the beholder you see there back by Samus's head. And that stinking beholder is just lagged out on me a little bit. I need to get around to painting it, so on and so forth. So that's the videos coming up soon. And probably do a little more index card room design. And maybe some good old-fashioned 3D room designs as well. Ethan Brown, what do you do for your job? I do more of this stuff. I make games. I write them. I do concept art. Sometimes I do audio. I do a little bit of like development, scripting, and so forth, but I'm not good at that because I'm too dumb. Give me more key mechanics, man. Hey, here's the problem, Lanny, with key mechanics videos. Yes, they are super cool, but there is a very limited number of key mechanics. If you make like 20 key mechanics videos, they don't become key, they just become mechanics. So I've been actually having a hard time thinking up new ones because there really needs to be about 6 or 8 of them. And then that's enough. Yeah, we'll archive this live stream. You know, the one live stream that I didn't archive is mainly because I got really drunk and was saying some kind of off-color comments, and I didn't want those to be archived on the internet. Canyon terrain. Well, you build up rather than building downward. If you watch my video on the Deadly Detour, there's a canyon built in there. Paladin dice. Oh, dude. That is the thesis of the dice video, man. The Paladin dice are the only way to live. That is they just drop the bomb on dice and there's no going back. They are the absolute best. I'm trying to read everything here. Read the Slumbering Tsar from Frog God. No, I haven't. It takes a lifetime to get through Frog God's material. There's so much material. I can't find the file under... Danny M, if you go to DriveThruRPG and search for Index Card RPG, you'll find and get yourself a copy. Casual Mechanics. Tertiary Mechanics with Hankerin Fernail. The first one will be boots. Do they fit? Love to make a living, just really quite envious of your job. Well, don't be envious. Get to work. It's all practice. I had 0 talent as a kid. I was a mess. And it's just all practice. If you want to draw or write or game design, whatever. It's all doing it. The spoils are in the doing. Everyone has ideas and dreams. It's the doing is where it all happens. What am I seeing back there? Oh, it's my laptop with all the stickers on it. I was like, what is that? Yep. Better than Dwarven dice. Yes, Robert, that's a good question. The Dwarven ones are hard to read. They also have some odd rolling behaviors. They wobble and roll in strange ways. Thinking of using index cards for skill challenges. Yes! Do your combat with details and grids and minis, and then use your cards for skill challenges. That is a brilliant solution. Do it. Do it now. Crazy shit, too, happening. Do you see the guy got the tattoo? He got the noble polyhedrals, got the tattoo. So, whoa. People start getting the same tattoo. That gets a little hail bop. That gets a little crazy. Totally awesome. And then another guy marker colored all of his index cards, which is just like, whoa. This is super cool. So we're coming up on an hour. I think that is about all for CARDtoons this morning. I hope you guys enjoyed a little look into my ridiculous world. I'm gonna go back to bed. Why am I awake right now? I have to do dishes. I think I'd rather sleep than do the dishes because fishes don't do dishes. Well, do they? What is that? I missed the guys. I missed Crazed Carl. I missed your initial question. This coffee is colder than my heart. James Wheeler, there's the link. Go get yourself a copy, please, and tell everyone you know. I'm really. I think this is my coup de grace here. I think I really have an idea that matters here, and I want to push it as hard as I can. It's selling really well, and I want it to sell even better. Hey, soul of a fake alligator, peace. Ground beef, good to see you. Everybody, thanks for stopping by. Yes, I totally use the index cards with the 3D stuff. They go right together. It's all good. Yeah, sleep tight. Happy 4:30 a.m. from Australia. Good to have you guys, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Again, good times. Get out there. Be awesome. Be a badass. Play some D&D and walk tall doing it, all right? Hankerin Fernell signing off for now. I'll see you guys next time on Drunkards and Dragons. It's strength, honor, and all the other cool shit, all right? Keep it real. Don't steal. You always get a deal. Now, how do I stop this thing from...